Hello, I am the Awkward GM Corbin, and today we will be talking about Trinity Continuum Aether in our beginner's guide, where I, as a beginner, try and go over a system I know very little about, as it were. Though I will say I do have a little bit of experience with Trinity Continuum in general. Uh, but also, I do have some other things to talk about. You can find me Awkward GM Corbin at YouTube. You can also check out the Storypath Ultra Core Manual Kickstarter, which is happening in 6 days and 17 hours, or it was 18 hours a few seconds ago. So next week, about, I think that's like 7 hours before this, so like 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, maybe. Don't take my word for it. Sign up. I've already actually signed up for it, and and I am really excited. I am trying to parse just a little bit of like some speculation here, where I see, ooh, there's a vampire from the left that I thought was Curseborn related, but apparently is not. And then on the right, have something that looks a little bit Victorian, maybe I don't know. And then in the middle, something that looks like a Lovecraftian creature, maybe I don't know. But it does say here that of the 3 example settings to show the story path, 2 of the example settings will be voted on by backers during the crowdfunding, which is going to be awesome. Of course, if you click here, it's going to take you to the Storypath Ultra preview page, which isn't going to show up correctly on my thing because I haven't prefaced it right. Whatever. That's what happens. Some cases, you just have to roll with the punches. But Storypath Ultra is not why we are here. In fact, Storypath Ultra is not what Trinity Continuum Aethers is using. Instead, we are using Storypath Basic. Now let me just transfer over to the, if I go to this here, and then if I change the window over here, this is our lovely character sheet that we're going to use for Trinity Continuum Aether. Thank you all for watching today. I am excited to get started with building these characters. I did play a character before in the OPP stream for Onyx PathCon. I got a I played a scribe, I think, so I might want to play one of the either Magog or Gog type characters. Thing I need to always remember when I'm doing this is I should have the Trinity Continuum rulebook also open. Yeah, that looks a lot better now. I am balancing act here, so many different things at the moment, but, oh, and that reminds me, I need to just say that I am on Twitch in the Onyx Path Discord. You know, you think you're doing a good job, and then you remember you forgot to say that you're doing character creation for Aether on Onyx Path Twitch. Always forget that. Shouldn't be too big of a deal. But hey, this will be up on YouTube if you fail to see it. And if you want, you can always check out the back catalog. I believe the Trinity Continuum Aether, where I went through like the setting secrets and everything, was already uploaded to YouTube page. So in any case, all that said and done with, we are going to go to the character creation section of Aether. Could have sworn I fixed that too. Okay, there we go. So if I go all the way down to character creation, we have this lovely image here of people fighting on top of a train, because if there's anything that you should be doing in Aether, it is you should have a big damn heist. Character creation is simple. You use you have your concept, which I don't typically do until the end because I am a renegade in this regard. And in fact, let's do the concept of a renegade scientist as our character. Renegade scientist. Okay, at least having something like that, I can work with it. So as a scientist, we do get to choose our paths, our character paths, one each of them an origin, role, and a society path, in addition to the ones offered in the Trinity Continuum core. And then this is when we get our skills and attribute dots. So let's look at the societies and counter societies. I'm looking at the counter societies again because I always like looking at these things. She has like Dr. Octopus, Doc Ock tendrils coming up her back. That's kind of cool. Anyway. So we have your standard 6 societies, and I say standard, really only one of them standard, and that is the Esoteric Order of Aeons. That one, not so much a standard as it is that we have the Aeon Society, which this predates. These are your typical Explorer Society type people, it seems like. Always like a good character named Hoffman, especially in a steampunk type setting. Or it's Victorian. It's Tesla with a lot of Edison thrown in. It's got a lot of varying levels of craziness in this setting. I think the Immortals are even like the universal monster types, like your Dracula, your Frankenstein, your werewolf. It seeks out individuals willing to approach all knowledge the world has to offer with a voracious appetite and unshakable courage. That's kind of like what a renegade scientist. No, a renegade scientist wouldn't join these people. They're too prim and proper. Edison's unwinders, too capitalistic. Her Royal Highness's Planetary Defense Pack, too monarchist. Student Society for the Opposition of Monsters. I kind of like that. I kind of like a society about monster hunting. Daring, determined, capable individuals, they expand their network with people who possess diverse skill sets, seeking area knowledge, piloting skills, or medical expertise regardless of status, gender, or ethnicity. SOM finds that people, squires, and gogs with a strong sense of control are best suited for taking down the Magog threats with any deficiencies in skill or equipment. So the Gogs, I'm just double checking which ones the Gogs are. So there are like 3 types of characters. There's Gogs, Magogs, and and then the Squires, the Aeronauts. Vampire, 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 vampire. Okay. 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 I need to find where these people are. There's definitely a here we go. Okay, so the rules for a Gog or Magog. Oh my god. So we've got the paths here. We have the academic, the scoundrel, and then we have the society paths. Oh, they have them all listed down there. That's one. I just want to check. I guess the glossary of terms will explain it to me. Agog are manipulators of Aether who shift reality, form, and environment using tools known as apparatus. Yeah. And then if I go look at Magog, are people who internally alter their forms. Okay, so yes, being part of the Society of the Opposition of Monsters, or SOM is perfectly fine for my character. So I will put that in my society path, SOM. And I will also put my inspired type is God. Yeah, God. Terminology for this can be confusing if you're not familiar with it, but you'll get used to it. You often do with these types of games, especially if you play it for long enough. Even just one session, I once said to myself I would not use the Werewolf the Forsaken terminology because it was just too esoteric, too crazy for me to realize it, and then, oh, I'm starting to use it all over the place. Because sometimes it's just easier to know that. Okay, so we do have the moment of inspiration. Okay, paths. Role origin, there's also the moment of inspiration. Moment of inspiration is activating certain skills. Oh, inspired characters don't meet. Okay, so inspiration is a stat that characters have, that our talents have. It's based off of your facets. So your facets would be 0 to 5, and I think you put 3 points into it at character creation. Yeah, 3 points divided between them at character creation. Oh. That's what happens when you accidentally minimize. So for the 3 points of character creation, let's put something in the character sheet. Let's just put all 3 as 1. And if I remember correctly, that gives me something like... It gives me like 2 inspiration, maybe? They have a base rating of 1, another 1 added to the rating for every facet at 1 or 2. When a facet reaches 3, and again when 1 reaches... Okay. I need to read this out loud. Another 1 is added to the rating for every facet valued at 1 or 2. So does that mean I'm at 4 inspiration? I think I might be at 4 inspiration. So that's... I need to check to make sure I didn't just screw up the stream. Yeah, I did screw up the stream. Actually, I don't blame myself for screwing up the stream. I blame Adobe Premiere. Or not Adobe Premiere, Adobe Acrobat. I'm going to put myself at 4 for the moment. If I'm wrong, I feel like I'm wrong. I feel like I should have like 2 or something. I think that... Let me go to the Trinity Continuum rulebook base, because that's where inspiration gets talked about. So you have inspiration. These 3 facets are each rated 1 to 5 in influence. The character's overall inspiration from your inspiration pool starts at 1 and increases by 1 each time any facet reaches rank 1, 3, or 5. Okay, so yeah, I do get 4. Okay. So going back to Aether, as far as my moment of inspiration, I could do... I want research to be my inspiration. The discoverer of etheric energy has changed the course of the character's study, whether she was a chemist, or a physicist, or a surgeon, or adventurer. The announcement of Aether has grown to become an encompassing obsession for her. The character may take on any chance to observe the unique chaotic ways Aether manifests, especially if she has chances to do so outside of the laboratory. This character typically has a background in similar academic field to the one that she currently pursues. So I'm going to do research as my moment of inspiration. I still have my paths to do. Let's look at more of the paths. You have the academic, the laborer, the occultist, the pastoral. Definitely going to go with the academic. Not even a question here. Mad scientists, their origin path should be an academic. At least in my personal opinion for this character, it's an academic. Your mileage may vary. Maybe you were an occultist before you found the divine light of the sciences. I can't be an agent of the crown for my role path because I am too much of a scoundrel right there. Oh, I do love playing a socialite character, but scoundrel. I'm gonna be a scruffy nerf herder. Yeah, scruffy little nerf herder from Star Wars. But also an academic, so I think that might not mesh that well with that. Oh, but here are the lovely little paths for each of the different societies. And wouldn't you know it, we have some for what seem to be the various different, I think, villain groups too. Counter societies? Yeah, we have Caesar's Consortium. I don't see the Immortals here. Oh, they're there. I always like, I like the Immortals because they've got this, like, monstrous nature to them. Which is kind of why I like to play the SOM, because they are the counter group to the Immortals. In any case, so SOM, they are Society for the Opposition of Monsters. I need to actually write this all down in my little notepad here, because one thing that you'll discover when you're doing these types of games is that you need to keep track of some information sometimes, and it's not always beneficial to do it by running through the PDF hither or dither or whatever old-timey slogan it is. I should do my old-timey voice for this a little bit. I should be like, yeah, and today we are doing the Society of the Opposition of Monsters, but I don't know if I can do that the entire time. But we shall see. It is the mid-Atlantic accent, don't you know? Don't you know, isn't that Minnesota? Yeah, Minnesota. But don't tell them that. Feel free to have this on in the background while playing some video games. You can get some nice information about the game while getting all the rupees in Zelda that you need so that you can rebuy the the Hyrule Shield. If anyone's at Nova or has friends who are going to Nova this weekend, have a lovely time, or they tell them to have a lovely time, because I am jealous of my coworkers right now because they're all going to Nova and I am stuck here in the world of Boston. That's the thing. I'm bad at conventions, but I do love hearing stories from conventions because people usually have some great ones. In any case, so we have our three paths that we're doing. Going back to character creation. So we've chosen our 3 paths. We've actually also chosen our we have also chosen our moment of inspiration, which I skipped through. But we're going to choose our 3 dots and skills. So as an Aether character, we have access to the following skills. We have access to, for our origin as an academic, we have access to either culture, enigmas, humanities or science, and persuasion. So I'm definitely taking science as a mad scientist. So we have culture, enigmas, science, and persuasion from our origin. So culture, enigmas, science, and persuasion. And I'm marking these with an O to signify where they're coming from. And then our next one is our scoundrel path, which is going to give us access to enigmas, larceny, persuasion, and survival. So that's our role. Enigma, larceny, persuasion, survival. Persuasion, enigmas. And then our last one that we've got here is our Society for the Thing about Monsters. So that's our S. That's going to be aim, close combat, integrity, and then survival. So at the very least, my character does have some defensive and offensive capabilities. Integrity is usually used for defending against mind control, typically, or influence. And then, of course, we do have access to the we do have to actually allocate. So for me, I'm definitely going to put 2 dots from my society into aim. Let's do 3 dots because I like to be a good shot. Science as my origin, I'm going to put 2 dots in there. I don't think culture will be good for me, and so I think I'll put that extra 1 dot into persuasion. So right now I've used 3 of my 9 dots. I think the last one we have is roll. Roll is the last one. So for my roll path, I can get survival and enigmas, and then either larceny or persuasion, or I could up enigmas. I think I'm gonna up enigmas, give myself some of that smart brain juice thing. And now I have 6 dots left to put in it for a grand total of 15. So I'm going to up aim by 1, up my science by 2, so I have 3 left. I'm going to up my persuasion by 2, and then I have 1 left, and I'm going to put a dot into enigmas. I did make myself a little bit of a glass cannon here, I think. Basically, I could bring down one of these traits, like aim. Like, I feel like 3 dots is kind of like a good starting off point. Having 1 in survival does feel a little bit weird. You know what? I'm a scientist. I'm going to take 1 away from aim, and I'm going to put 1 more dot into integrity, just so I have a little bit of integrity. It's not literal integrity. I'm not being a crazy I'm not like morally more fortified or something. Maybe I should be. Who knows? Going back here, we do have to do the attributes, which are 6, 4, 2. So if I go here, mental should be 6. 3 to start in there. Cunning. That's 5 dots. So these are my mental stats: intellect, cunning, resolve. I'm definitely going to up my resolve a little bit more. I do have the habit of underutilizing my resilience dots. For my secondary, I'm definitely going to go for social. So I'm going to up my presence and my manipulation, my composure is not going to be so great. And then when I go into the 2 dots I have for physical, I'm going to put 1 in dexterity and 1 in stamina, which is fine. And if I'm going to have a favored approach, which gives me access an additional dot to every attribute across a row, I'm going to increase my cunning, dexterity, and manipulation by 1. Pardon me. I really appreciate Aether as far as it goes. I like having access to a essentially a steampunk setting for Trinity, because I really like the assassins and the core rules, as well as Anima. Anima is probably my favorite right now, which I did put a video out about Anima recently. I might put out a video about Aether soon as well, because it has its own special place in my heart. Decide on the circumstance. Oh, we did choose the moment of inspiration, and I do believe when you choose a moment of inspiration, it does give you an extra dot of an attribute, maybe. It just says associated attributes, so maybe it doesn't. I hear inspiration. It's used for this stuff. Their breakthrough, overbursts. Oh, these are cool abilities. I should have covered these cool abilities before. If your character is exposed to the powerful source of etheric energy, she regains a point of inspiration every scene she spends in its vicinity, which is Gogs and Mugogs only. Oh, so there's different abilities that you get for being a different creature type. Okay. I say creature type, it's not really a creature type. Okay, so whichever the case, Squires, Gogs all select the moment of inspiration in addition to any of the following moments of inspiration themselves. Okay, so this is where you sort of have your differing mechanics for being a Magog versus Gog versus Squire. So because I chose Gog, I have etheric exposure, which means I regain inspiration when exposed to etheric energy. I also get breakthroughs by making a great discovery related to Aether or devising a plan which is enacted to success. I gain a burst of inspiration equal to my intuitive facet once per session. And then constellations can offer inspiration overburst. The character discharges an amount of etheric energy present in their body. Okay, this is destructive facet to do damage at the immediate in the immediate area, and that's only for Magogs. Okay. I am quickly looking up the new keywords for these. Squires. Gogs. So here are the rules for a Gog. Gogs are conscious. Let me do the voice. Gogs are consciously aware they manipulate the strange etheric forces Tesla and Edison unearthed. Gogs spin and unwind these energies to suit their purposes, creating fantastic and often dramatic effects on the world. No one knows the full extent of how far Aether can be manipulated, but Gogs understand set parameters and patterns and procedures to generating effects from the ubiquitous energies. God gifts focus on shifting reality, altering form, and shaping the environment. Their gifts tend to be dramatic and have obvious effect to outsiders, though their effects may be more subtle or harder to detect to those caught within them. Unlike squires and magogs, Agog's scientific approach to spinning and unwinding Aether leads them to believe they have no innate ability to channel the Aether. Instead, much like master crafters who use tools fit for the functions they deliver, Gogs use mechanical devices called apparatus to grasp the Aether. Maybe it's called apparati to grasp the Aether, supplement their knowledge and skill, and weave the energies to their will. Gogs can purchase etheric and non-etheric gifts that include the skill type or Gog keyword. Gog characters need not meet any prerequisites listed for a gift with the Gog keyword to purchase it or use its appropriate apparatus. Apparatus are devices that Gogs use to spin and unwind. Blah, 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 blah. Ah. Singular or plural. They even put it into the section. Apparatus is both the singular and plural term derived from the Latin apparare, to make ready for. English in the 21st century more commonly uses apparatuses for the plural. While this is correct today, and formerly educated Gog worthy of their teacher would be appalled by such vulgarity at the time of Aether. Of course, not every Gog learned their craft with formality or care about terminology. Okay. So often the apparatus might be called contraptions, devices, tools, looms, or foci. Regardless of their form, all apparatus adhere to the following rules. Apparatus don't impart gifts. The Gog possesses the knowledge. The apparatus converts knowledge into effect. If a Gog loses an apparatus, they can replace it given time. Each apparatus is attuned toward a specific skill and allows the Gog to use gifts with the corresponding skill type. A Gog must use an apparatus to manifest gifts that don't specify a skill type, but can use any of their apparatus to do so. So this basically means if there is no skill type associated with it, any apparatus can be used to create that effect. A given apparatus can resonate with up to 3 skills, as described in the apparatus edge. The more skills an apparatus covers, the more complex or larger or more intricate the device must be, though this is left to the player and story guide to agree on what level of complexity is sufficient. Investing multiple skills into a single apparatus increases the convenience for the Gog to not have to carry multiple devices, but increases the risk to the Gog if the apparatus is confiscated, stolen, or broken. The nature of the apparatus is reflective of the skills it grants access to. Apparatus giving access to the skills of a scientific nature could include measuring or calculating components, blah, blah, blah. In contrast, apparatus for more physically active skills include moving or spinning parts, gyros. Finally, apparatus unlocking social skills may include patterns and decorations intended to distract and delight, such as an intricate carving, mesmerizing facet of colors, or optical illusions. Interesting. So they're personal to the Gog. Another Gog cannot use another's apparatus without first learning how it twists the Aether to serve the Gog's intent. So basically you have to purchase it with another apparatus edge in order to use it. One character to another in stressful times. The Well-Start Carpetbagger gift allows the squire to provide a temporary apparatus to an allied Gog. So you may still use the gift if you meet the prerequisites. However, doing so gains divergence and sets the Gog on the path to becoming inhuman Magog. Losing an apparatus doesn't cause the character to lose dots invested in the edge. Okay, so here's where we get the idea that if a Gog starts doing gifts without Aether, or doing stuff with Aether without an apparatus, they can become a Magog, which is essentially a monstrous form. So if I go down here, yeah, you're burning the safe doors with your hands. Squires, however, just use ability and luck. However, they can also become, I think this says they can become Magogs and Gogs respectfully as well. Sometimes you can get a little bit flustered with researching all this stuff. But in any case, going back to the character creation stuff, we already know that we're going to be a Gog. And so being a Gog, we now have to add our advantages. 3 points among the 3 facets. We did that for the advantages. Choose 4 gifts. As always, gifts with a skill or attribute keyword require at least 1 dot in the associated ability. The following information appears. Gogs can take a mixture of 4 etheric and non-etheric gifts with the skill type or Gog keywords, with 1 for each path and 1 that can be unrelated. Okay, so I've written down here what edges and gifts I can take. So gift keywords, I have stamina, close combat, survival, manipulation, larceny, persuasion, intellect, enigmas, humanities. And I can ignore those or others if I decide to grab some other gifts. So first up, you have the luck gifts. I think luck gifts you don't have any requirement on. Okay. Here's some changes to the core rulebook gifts. Let's do some attribute ones. So do this all day is a tough one. You're like being a little bit tougher. Walk me through it is more mental. The system's mind, the character's mind soaks up information in a way that even the most basic explanation grants them insight for the fundamentals of skill for a short time. A character may ask another to explain the use of one of their skills. This requires only a few seconds of explanation, regardless of the complexity. If performed in combat, the exchange takes up an action, and both the character explaining their skill and the user of the gift. Once it is, spend 1 inspiration and gain an enhancement equal to your reflective facet on all rolls involving that skill. Tougher than you look. Prerequisite of Cunning 3. I think I do have Cunning 3. I do. Martian scan. Okay, the character spends a point of inspiration when she shelters behind an object that can at least count as expendable cover. You know what? I'm just going to take walk me through it, because getting extra enhancement is always good to have, even if it's just a +1. Now, I do want the aim one of Archer's Eye. Due intense training or an accident at birth, you have acute vision. You may use the aim school as basis for any roll to notice a visual detail. Conceal weapons in the possession of opponent. So it just makes it like, it's sort of like that. I can use aim for noticing things as opposed to survival and other skills. It seems like a very like Sherlock type thing to have. Now I do want to. I did meet the prerequisite for that, so I don't have to use my apparatus for it. I want to be a scientist type person, so I should take at least the science gift that we have access to here. Dangerous assessment. Your character is skilled at pointing out the flaws and dangers in risky endeavors. Spend one inspiration, offer a warning to another character and see about an action they're about to undertake. The detailed ways in which that character's action could backfire or other risks that could take place because of their actions, attacks. I think I would have like a magic 8-ball for this, some sort of magic 8-ball apparatus to figure this all out. Definitely feel though like Archer's Eye as an ability is very similar to maybe I have like a monocle or something that does sporting opponent, persuasion. I do have persuasion, but I want to have an ability that makes it so that I am like, I don't know, something that's a little bit more social, maybe something that I don't have skill dots in. She's not merely an avid reader, but has a voracious appetite for the written word. Humanities. While she may not be good at puzzle solving, she's outread them all. Once per session, you may spend one inspiration to activate this gift. For the remainder of the scene, you may use humanities in place of enigma when solving riddles or puzzles. Additionally, you may use humanities in place of persuasion. Now, I would ask myself as a GOG, I don't think I need that ability. What about culture? Sometimes having witnesses is all that it takes to prevent unfortunate events. Spend inspiration to have onlookers arrive at the location. That's a good one to have. I think I could sort of have eyewitnesses. It's basically just a way to get it so that people will like congregate in an area. Now, dangerous assessment, and so like maybe I can say that my character has goggles that are sort of like the precursor to the Google Glass thing. And dangerous assessment and Archer's Eyes can be in it, but eyewitnesses needs to be like its own little thing that like grabs people's attention to attract them, like a beacon kind of. And then walk me through it. I guess walk me through it could be attached to the goggles as well. They'll be pretty big goggles. I don't think there is a gift that has a prerequisite of being a GOG or a Magog, now that I think about it. Oh, they're in etheric gifts. That's what I am missing. You're a silly nugget, Corbin. I'm a silly Billy. Let's remove eyewitnesses. We'll have at least one etheric gift. The one etheric gift. Let's see what we've got here. Accelerate tempo. I can manipulate time. You get one additional action per turn. Etheric assistant. I craft a simulacra or like a construct to help me. Complete genius. Oh, requires a Magog. I'm not a Magog. I am a GOG. Deranged senses. Derange the senses. Oh, so I can hypnotize people or something. Blind, deafen, disorientate, induce hyposemia. Oh, so remove their sense of smell. Disturbing aura. Dynamo. She knew her command. By converting Aether into basic electricity, you can surround yourself in an energy field. Gives me some special armor. Anthropic Shift. I can turn equipment against my opponent's own equipment against them to inflict injuries. What about Expel Aether? Oh, I can have a prerequisite selected ability. Make it a ray gun type thing, and I can shoot someone with it. And then I get additional stunts to change fate in a little bit. Okay, that one's a good one. I like Expel Aether. I think I'm going to take Expel Aether. And I think I'm going to replace... I might replace Archer's Eye with something else. Futurist, your character has a firm grasp of the principles of technology. Gravitational redirect. Uh-oh, am I playing music? Close that. I don't think you'll be able to hear it. Streamers or viewers, you won't be able to hear it. Now, if I have a GOG thing without the prerequisite, I can use it. GOGs have a lot of mental ability stuff, don't they? Phantasm. Where's like something for presence? Okay, summon beastly aid. Spend an inspiration. Your character can summon beasts from the area. Okay, so I have a ray gun, and I'm going to see if I can get beastly aid. Yes, oh no, my presence is 3, so technically I can take it. What about might? Might. Yes, I do not have might. I have spring-heeled boots that allow me to jump a short distance. I'll toss those in there. Let me do something I can't do. Or I wouldn't be able to do normal. Going back to character creation section. I get the 4 gifts. I also get I get edges too. 4 additional dots of edges. I get a bonus dot of attributes. I'm going to increase my dexterity by 1. Because I want to be able to shoot things, darn it. And so if I go down here and I grab some edges, I get 4 dots of edges, I think equal to my... Actually, if I go back to character creation and then I search the word edge, all GOGs receive 1 dot of apparatus edge for free, page 120. So I'm going to take 2 dots of apparatus. Your character has dedicated effort to understanding how apparatus interact with Aether to allow spinning and unwinding. Each dot of this edge gives the character apparatus access 3 skills. Your character chooses whether this is a single apparatus with 3 skills or multiples with less. Each apparatus must cover at least 1 skill, and GOGs can have multiple apparatus for the same skill. Each dot of this edge grants at least 1 additional apparatus, therefore a GOG with 5 dots on this edge would have at least 5. Without the appropriate... Okay, so I'm going to have 2. I'm going to have... Well, I'm going to have 1 initially. So... And I'm going to put in my skill tricks for the moment, because I'm not sure where I should put it. But basically, what I'll have is I'll have a might apparatus, a and a Spring Heel Shot was my, and then it's a aim apparatus, which is a gun. It's a ray gun, and then I guess I'll have that thing that I'll have something like a survival apparatus, which is a classes. So I get 3 skills, but I've decided to allocate them across 3 different apparatus instead of just one with 3 actions. It would be a little bit too complex for me to put all of this into one thing. And I'll just put boots, because I have Spring Heel. What was that? Sorry, I have windows open that shouldn't be open. Luckily, it wasn't the calculator. If it was the calculator, I would have been hacked. Anyway, so I've taken one in that. Quick measurement. Character skilled quickly. This applies to only one character. Apparatus, which must be defined when the edge is purchased. Oh, so it's I can have the apparatus in my hand as a reflexive instead of a simple action. That's actually really good. I'm gonna take that. And it's just a 1 dot, so I still have 3 dots left. Gatekeeper. Your character is particularly adept at creating Aether gates. That's a good one too. What about enhanced one? Master of Disguise. Your character can compose herself to look as though she belongs anywhere. Private repository. I don't have that. Impassioned creator. I don't have those. Stylish. It's Baritsu. Some verbal sparring stuff I could take. I do like the idea of verbal sparring. Witty repartee. Your character knows how to keep his. A character knows how to keep his quip concise and to the point. He's able to say a lot in only a few words, leaving his sparring partner off guard and easier to influence. I can lower the difficulty of an influence by 1. Look, distraction. The target gains a +3 complication on the next turn. Failure to buy off it allows the character or one of his allies in short range to immediately act. If the character attacks or takes any other aggressive action, the spell is broken, and he can't use his edge for the remainder of the scene. And then feed the ego. Okay, those are kind of cool. Voice of reason. The character has a knack for taking a cacophony of differing opinions. The character may spend a momentum to bestow the benefits of camaraderie for a scene. That's actually a good one. I can get people on my side more easily. Take that, put that there. Wish I had a bigger screen so it would be easier for me to see the Twitch chat. That's probably an investment I should do for next year. Should have looked at it. Looks like we had a harasser, a scammer in the chat. Apologies. I've taken care of it. Any case, going back here. You know what? Voice of reason sounds good. Helps me calm down a crowd, gives us a bit of time to get people figured out and they trust me a bit more. What else we got? Social edges. We did a social edge. Let's do, oh man, my favorite one, polyglot. I can speak any language. I'm taking polyglot. Aether is a lot more globetrotting than you'd think. It's definitely got a around the world in 80 days type vibe to it, because that also is kind of steampunky. Essentially, you're going to be traveling the world. We're getting close to the end. Again, I want to reiterate that Storypath Ultra is having their Kickstarter in 1 week's time on the, I think it is the 3rd of September. Additionally, there is other stuff going on. We are having on the 30th, we are having the Onyx Path weekend, Onyx Path game night, rather, where people play the different games. Probably a lot of Curseborn stuff going on right now. People are talking about that. Every Tuesday and Thursday, there is a Curseborn blog post that is up on Onyx Path's website. The latest one is Interstitial Areas, the Luminalities. The one that they talk about now is a mall where random crazy stuff happens. I did finish my character here. We'll call him Dr. Rue, because he is a renegade. I don't know. In case we have this character sheet pretty easily set up. A lot of new rules, though, for talents in this. I really like how Gogs are set up as sort of like these scientific people who think that they're controlling Aether through devices, when really they're sort of channeling it through the device, and the ability is actually a part of them. And if they use their abilities without using a device, they can risk actually becoming a Magog, where they're mutated by the etheric craziness. There's also a thing going on, if I look at the Monday meeting notes, because I always look at the Monday meeting notes because I'm always curious. U stands for Ultra, as Storypath Ultra is kickstarting. I say it's kickstarting, I mean crowdfunding, and it is going to be on the backer kit, I think. Diplomacy and Conflict is the latest release for Trinity Continuum Aeon, and it goes on sale on Wednesday. And double checking everything that Travis sends to me to basically talk about for the week. That's about it. There's a sale going on at Indie Press Revolution. Check those out if you can. And have a good one. I think I'll put us up onto our pre-roll again and sign off. Bye.